Once upon a time, there was a group of dads who started playing D&D. This is their story.
Hello and welcome to D&D with Dads. We had an interesting adventure on the last session. We met two new characters, Humphrey Humblebottom and Tuco Musashi. Humphrey and Tuco identified themselves as adventurers who had heard about this group that was considering taking on the Mage Tower. And they were interested. They got to know the group, and you decided to explore and do a little investigation of some of the homesteads around Tavalar, so that you could maybe track down a little bit more information about this mysterious adventuring group that had once tried to take on the Mage Tower. This group that you had heard about, the Turning Key. But they kind of mysteriously disappeared, and everyone assumed that they had failed and died trying to take on the Mage Tower. So you actually found a house, a ramshackle farm, which looks like it had been abandoned. You explored it. You found a dire bear and cubs nesting in the
minding their own business.
Yeah. just hanging out in the grain tower. And a little more investigation in the barn and the home revealed a couple other interesting items as well, including a strange skeletal key, if I'm not mistaken, and also a necklace that I believe someone had cast detect magic. And that's how you found the necklace, yes? Yeah. So when Durant cast detect magic, he sensed the existence of this item under the floorboards. And you guys were able to dig up this necklace. Not having attuned to it quite yet, you know that it's enchanted, but you don't know the other properties that it has. So where would you like to pick up?
Humphrey did an Arcana check on it. So maybe we can pick that up.
Yes. Yeah. So you get the sense that this is indeed a magical necklace. It is enchanted and it has some other function, but you feel like you will have to study it a bit more and attune to it to learn of its magical secrets. So where do you guys want to go? What do you want to do?
I say we go back to the, we found some cool stuff. I say we head back to where we started, back to the inn, and maybe we find a private room and we discuss. Okay.
You leave the farmstead. You head back towards the inn. You get back to town. By now, the guardsmen all recognize you guys. They're not as suspicious as they have been the last, several weeks, but they always ask the same questions. Are you sick? Do you have any symptoms of sickness? Have you been bitten by anything recently? You guys answer the customary answers. They nod and they let you through. Unless anybody says that they were bitten by anything, but other than that, they let you through. So you guys get back to the inn. You get up to a room. Estroff, you were in the inn. You kind of spent the day. Well, why don't you tell me how were you spending your day? You weren't alone.
I'm spending my day. Like Estroff had said, he's watching Blingo, watching Twig, and doing a little bit of experimentation with Twig, kind of seeing what he can do further with plant growth and druid craft, trying it out, trying out something else. Of course, he's no wizard, so he's not like he's jotting this down, but he's experimenting, pulling off the berries, and trying out his herbalism kit for the first time.
Does Twig feel about this?
So the interesting thing that
grow. Sorry, go ahead.
As you kind of do this, you spend the better part of the day doing this, and you learn a little bit about kind of how these things work. But the plant growth definitely has an impact, and you see it has like a short-term kind of hulking impact, And then when the spell wears off, there's a little bit of regression, but overall it does kind of accelerate the growth pace of Twig. So whereas Twig might have started as like literally a little twig, he's now like a decent sized shrub. And that's only been a couple days. So the Druid Craft, when you use it, is almost like it refreshes him and it invigorates him. And it kind of, he produces a few extra berries, but it doesn't have the same strength or power as the plant growth.
So did we have to repot him?
He will need to probably by tomorrow, he'll need to have a larger pot.
Point of clarification. Did you ask consent before taking any of the berries?
No, he said he's okay with it. He is a berry twig, and we need the berries.
Yeah.
He doesn't need the berries.
Yeah, he's a very healthy shrub at this point. And Estroff, having spent the day, you were able to harvest 3 more berries. You kind of set up a little kit. You got your herbalism kit out on the table. You're kind of doing experiments with the berries and seeing what you can do with them. I'm going to say that this process will be a series of rolls, like an extended set of rolls. So each day you'll dedicate a certain amount of time to this research, this experimentation. And after acquiring a certain amount of successes, you will have broken through to a new discovery. So go ahead and make your first herbalism kit roll. So that's your proficiency bonus plus your wisdom bonus. And tell me what you get.
So that would be 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has begun. It's going to take some days. Right about the time that you've spent a good chunk of time doing all this stuff, you hear the fellas coming back, and you hear the door open across the hall. Durant's room is where it sounds like they're going. Riff, you hear Estroff coming out from his room, and he sees you guys.
Hey, Estroff, what have you been doing?
So I got my mortar and pestle. I got berry juice on my face, looking like druid version of Breaking Bad. Oh, nothing.
Did you
just learning?
Did you murder Twig?
Oh no, he's fine.
Okay. I'm kind of beat up a bit. Do you know if he's got any fresh berries? I can maybe you could ask if I could have one.
I'm gonna offer what I've been mashing up. Like, why don't you try it, my friend?
All right. I'm gonna give it a try. I hope this has got some healing powers to it.
Okay. You drink this pulpy mash. And it has some other things in there too. Estroff put like various things in there. So it does a little bit of a trick. You get 1 hit point back, and you do feel invigorated. Like if you feel like rehydrated and refreshed. So it's kind of like,
feel better.
Yeah, you just got a little shot of energy.
I feel like a real druid.
So you guys go into Durant's room, and you're kind of sitting around.
This is also the room where Shem is most of the time, correct?
Yes, Shem is not there currently. So
Okay,
if you wanted to choose another room, that's fine.
Well, Durant is going to use Detect Magic.
Okay.
Just to make sure that there's nothing around, no traces.
You detect magic, and there's a invisible creature in the room.
Interesting.
It's in the corner of the room.
Is it just standing there?
Like fairy fire?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, now that I think about it, does detect magic work on invisible creatures? Or would it only work on objects?
Tuco's gonna be looking around the room, just looking for any kind of hidden threats or anything.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check. The presence of magic.
17.
A little later, it says visible creature or object in the area.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look at all my spells
All right.
and see what I have.
So you see a creature. I'm not sure if you've ever seen one of these before. So make an Arcana check.
Okay. Uh, 16.
You feel like this is not an imp, but it's some other kind of magical familiar. And it kind of has, it kind of looks hideous, and it has like kind of long bony appendages, and like it's kind of like sitting up on the corner post of Shem's bed. And it's visible, and it's looking at you, and it has magic around it.
Guys, we might want to pick a different room.
What is it?
You feel like this is although you've never seen it before, you feel like this is a quasit.
Just trust me, this is not a place to have a conversation.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything. It just looks at all of you. Like it other than that, you don't sense any other magic.
I don't see any traps or anything else like that.
Nope. So where do you guys want to go then? Just any of the other rooms?
I mean,
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
I don't know. I thought this room was okay, but apparently it's not.
So you go across the hall to Astrov's room. You see Blingo there, and you see Twig. And Twig has grown in size. And the other thing that you've noticed is that Twig has gotten out of his pot of dirt. And he's kind of like crawling and pulling himself towards Blingo. And Blingo's like up on the bed.
Lingo,
Blingo's
what
like
did you
scared of
do?
Twig. And as you guys open the door, Blingo's like, tree thing wants to eat Blingo. And Twig
Kinda
like
doubt
gets
that,
around and
you
sees
know.
Estroff, and then he starts pulling himself back over towards the pot of dirt.
I don't know, Estroff. You're the druid. You do the thing that you talk to him or something, I guess, because that's kind of strange.
Not a plant talking druid. I'm more of a tinker with plants. Maybe he's hungry.
He's in his
Maybe
pot.
he's a meat eater. Do we have any jerky rations?
You have rations, sure. You have.
Be good, Barry.
Well, I don't think he wants to eat what came off of him. So I want to go ahead and take some jerky and see if I can entice him to try it.
He takes the jerky and he kind of puts it in the dirt, and he covers it up in the dirt.
Are we going to talk about the fact that our plant now has hands?
Nope. Just roll with it.
We don't talk about your hands.
All right.
Well, I'm supposed to have hands.
Oh, so he's not supposed to have hands.
Oh, so why can you have hands and he's not allowed to have hands?
I mean, I don't have a great answer to that, but
Stop
it seems
gatekeeping hands.
abnormal.
Well, yeah. Now since we got into a new room, I want to check this room out too. Make sure there's nothing here.
Okay, make an investigation check.
And my detect magic would still be up, right?
8. You see a small goblin in the room. And a seemingly sentient and now ambulatory shrub.
Cast
Is this what
self-immolate.
this group is normally like?
The forest gnome just seems to be unfazed by this.
Master Humblebottom, are you sure this is the best place for us to be?
I think that this is the appropriate place for us at this moment. Just
Very
give
well.
it some time. We have lots to learn, some things to uncover.
Griff goes over to Twig and scratches him on his bark back a little bit. You know, try to give him some tree tinglies. Whatever that is.
Twig seems to appreciate the attention, and he kind of like rocks back and forth slowly with his branches, and just seems to be kind of in a calm rhythm. Detect magic still being active. Durant, do you study the objects?
I mean, I'll briefly glance over anything that I'm not already aware of.
Okay. You feel like the key is significant, though not magical. In its design, it's significant. And it must have some... It seems to be rather complex.
I would like to do a history check to see if I'm aware of any other keys that might have a similar design. Also a 16.
You don't necessarily, nothing necessarily jumps out at you in terms of the design or the complexity, other than the fact that the adventuring party that you guys heard about, who like was in this region last and had made some kind of significant strides towards quelling the mysteries around the flooded forest and the Mage's Tower, was known as the Turning Key. And this is a key.
A little on the nose, don't you think?
As for the necklace, if you wanted to study it further, if anyone wanted to attune to it,
I have identified. Does that do anything for me?
yes.
So I would like to do that.
More, I think identify does perhaps a lot more than detect magic. You can do that. You can definitely do that if you want to take 10 minutes and do it as a ritual. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll do it as a ritual.
You can. So
Can I RP the whole 10 minutes like live?
yes, absolutely. Begin chanting.
Well, during that 10 minutes, Durant is going to walk over to Mr. Musashi.
Okay.
Mr. Musashi, are you a learned man?
In the ways of the sword, I am learning. But other than that, not so much.
So I doubt you've heard of Alyssa Hanaduthis then.
You can make a history check to see if you have.
Me or Grant?
Yeah,
You.
That's a 2. I said I'm not very.
You had rolled a
Not very
nat
learned.
20. If you had rolled a nat 20, I would have made Erik explain to you the entire backstory. But you, alas, have not heard of this person. Okay. After 10 minutes, Humphrey, you begin to unlock the mysteries and the properties of this necklace. First and foremost, it is very old. You get the sense that this was created centuries ago. and that the necklace has enchantments on it that allow the user to cast the spell fly. You can fly. And more mechanically, you can cast fly as a 5th level spell. You get 1d4 charges per day. And that you after an 8-hour sequence in the changing of the sun and the moon, aka a long rest, you can reacquire those charges.
And this is for anybody who wants to wear this?
So whoever attunes to it
Okay.
can use those charges.
Attuning, and forgive me on the lack of knowledge on the understanding.
You take a short rest and you study
Okay.
the magic, and basically you become like
So any magic user, basically.
anyone. It doesn't even have to be a magic user.
Oh,
It could be anyone who attunes to it. This is a necklace of flying, and it casts the spell as a 5th level spell for the number of charges you have. The significance of that is that you could cast for 1 charge, you could affect 3 people. Do you understand? You could
I do.
add 2 more
So
charges on
okay,
it.
so it's that. My next question was, does it only apply to the self? But it doesn't. It sounds like you can direct the spell.
Yes.
Okay, well then, do I share this? Do I not? No, I'll share this, right? Because I already have flying, so it doesn't really. I don't see any reason not to share this. So I'll share this with the group. Hey, after pondering and studying this, it's also clear to me now. This necklace imbues whoever wears it with the ability to cast a flying spell, not just for themselves, but for others. It has a certain amount of charges, and it seems to be very powerful. This is certainly worth something.
Might help us
Discuss.
get up into the Mage's Tower.
Absolutely.
We saw that guy flying in there.
Yeah.
But remember, if we go through
It'd
either of
make a
those
really
ways,
Rad
Going
performance
in.
for our bard.
Okay. That would be actually.
What
That
was
would
that
be
for
pretty.
you?
You'd have to incorporate this into like some sick guitar solo, and then all of a sudden you just sort of rise up and start flying. Yeah. So, question is, what do we do with it?
I mean, I like the idea that was proposed of going into the Mage's Tower with it. But
I
must
thought the last
be
time that we discussed
aware-
this, I thought we were not going to do a full on assault of the Mage's Tower. I thought we were going to go up into the mountains.
The only way in, well, I wouldn't know that. Never mind.
We are likely headed into a trap if we go directly into the Mage's Tower. And plus, we need allies against those who are working against us.
Should we look for this giant that never sleeps?
I think that's our best bet for an ally.
Yep, that's the plan.
But I think some being that powerful likely expects a gift of some sort.
What makes you think they want a gift? Do giants usually want gifts?
I know not much of giants.
Who?
Perhaps
How
you
would you
know.
know that? Would that be like a nature roll or a survival roll?
Probably be Arcana.
Could be history.
History, maybe.
I think I would say there are a couple different things from a meta perspective when I consider knowledge rolls. In some questions that you might have Arcana, you might have history, you might even have religion. So if you're in a situation where and they could all be related to the same topic, right? But your line of questioning or your line of study may reveal something different depending on which of those skills you use. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
you know, if I mean,
Makes
and the most
sense.
common example I give people is like, suppose that you're like, I want to know more about the time of Jesus. Okay, so if you study that from a simply historical element, there is a whole bunch of, you know, historical documentation that you could find of the Roman Empire and, you know, all these different things, right? Then there's kind of the religious dogmatic approach and philosophical approaches. And then there's the Arcana approach, you know, so there I think there are different.
Okay.
So
I'd want to figure out from the Arcana perspective then.
yeah. So you are, I mean, you're proficient in Arcana.
Yes.
You understand. I mean, I'll put it to you this way: without even rolling, all of you understand that there are levels of giants. Right? There's like there's a hierarchy. There are levels of giants. Whether or not your character would know the specifics of those levels would require a roll, and the degree of success would determine how much you know.
Bill, would my clan that my master was from have known anything about the giant?
Well, because the elves are south of a lot of giants, and actually there are giants north of the elves and east of the elves. So a history roll in that case would be appropriate. Now, if you wanted to do a religion check, that would focus more on the significance of the giants in this region and maybe who might have worshipped these giants or paid homage to these giants, you know, to avoid being destroyed by them, that kind of thing. So
I don't think Durant's knowledge would be this far north, though. So I kind of feel like a religious role on that wouldn't be appropriate for Durant.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, Estroff, being that his religion would be based in nature, I don't know how far that would go up into the mountains from where he's at. We're a decent distance away.
It probably has more relevance than anything Durant's going to know.
Yeah, maybe, but probably just vague references to the giants, maybe nothing specific to a sleeping king. I wouldn't think that far away.
I will say this, because Procamper is southwest of the range, of the mountain range. It's not, I mean, basically anyone in the vast might know about some of this stuff because giants were a significant part of this region for such a long time. So I will say this: if you want to, Humphrey, make an Arcana roll, that would reveal a certain degree of this knowledge.
Yes, that's what I want to do. I'm using the Googles because I don't have any of that stuff on me. Okay, that is a 16.
Okay. So you basically understand that the ordning is like a social structure for giants. And that there are rankings, and you understand that like on the lower end are like hill giants. They're very much, you know, kind of just the trash of the giants in the social structure. You understand that there are frost giants, fire giants, stone giants, cloud giants, and storm giants. And essentially, like, storm giants are by far the highest ranking in the ordning among the giants. You know that cloud giants are also very, you know, held in high esteem, typically highly ranked in the ordning, and kind of a little bit more civilized. You know that fire giants and frost giants tend to be pretty scary, powerful, but also a bit, you know, dangerous, a little bit more on the chaotic side. And you know that there are some sub races which some people refer to as giant kin, which include things, anything that is kind of derived from or related to giants. This would include trolls, ogres, ettins.
So nothing that provides any additional insight to whether or not it would be appropriate to bring a gift.
Not at that level of your knowledge, no.
Okay.
Actually, can I make a religion check on what would possibly be a decent gift to some of the higher giants?
Sure.
So that would be 15.
The head of their enemies.
With a 15, you know what not to bring. You know that fire giants would scoff at any gift from the likes of anyone smaller than them, because they are masters of the forge and they can create anything, and they think that they're better than everyone else at forging things. You feel like the ones who might enjoy a special or unique kind of gift would be maybe the cloud giants or the storm giants, and not necessarily like, here's a pallet of gold, but more like something that's special, like
Give them the necklace.
priceless painting or an incredible antique from a ancient civilization. Something that has like artistic or historical significance might be worth more to them than a magic sword or a diamond or whatever.
Or a dragon egg.
Guys, I have an idea. If it comes to that, if they demand a gift, it's okay. I'll stay with them a few days and play music and everything. I've been told I have a gift of song, and maybe that'll soothe any savage soul. So let's not spend too much time worrying about it.
Yeah.
What about a talking baby? Ugly talking baby. Would they enjoy that?
Oh my God.
I'll bring one of those too.
Yeah, I think let's worry less about the gift and let's just all agree if we're marching in the same direction here.
Can I roll history just for the heck of it to see about anything about the background for giant that sleeps? Natural one.
Nice.
You are certain that you should definitely bring something special that is related to food, because you're like, giants love to eat. So you begin thinking about like what kind of special food you can bring as a gift.
Beef jerky.
Yes.
You can always look for something on the way. Remember, there are houses.
We'll stop at an Arby's.
Yes.
Higher bear?
Okay, guys, let's focus. Okay, so we figured out the deal as much as we can with the necklace and the keys, right?
Right. No one's attuned to the necklace though. No one has claimed it yet. So
Okay. Can I identify on the necklace?
You did identify it. That's how you know.
No, I did. I'm sorry, not the necklace. No, sorry, I got confused for a second. Okay, so we need someone to. Do we need someone to attune to it now? I mean, we're not going to go fly in the mage tower.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. If we're going to a mountain, it certainly doesn't hurt to fly.
Okay, so I do not need. So I'm holding the necklace here. It's like, would anybody like to be the first to attune and wear the necklace? I do not personally need it, as I have the ability to fly with my magical research, but it may be helpful for some of you.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I hand it to Riff.
It would look best on you, Riff.
Yes. Brings out your
So
eyes.
since we've decided we're gonna go find
like
this giant, do we know where to
Gorgeous.
look?
That's a great question.
You as Riff is attuning to it, you guys, taking a small rest. I'll assume that you guys have some dinner and you continue discussing your thoughts. You look over your map of the region and you see that there are multiple options, because you're not far from the main range of the Earthspur Mountains, but you also have that smaller Earthfast mountain branch of the mountain range to the south of Tavalar. So your next course of action is to kind of figure out like where you think you'd want to go.
Have you guys dealt with any other kind of things with this giant that never sleeps? Have you heard of anything, where he might be from or which direction we may want to go in?
Does Rip remember when he felt sort of the breeze coming from that direction? Would there be any way of detecting which? Like
Yeah,
kind of a
Follow the giant sneezes.
it definitely came from the south, and it came from the Troll Mountains, which the Troll Mountains are what the locals call that little branch of the greater mountain range, the Earth Spur or the Earth Fast Mountains.
What is this
Hey guys.
breeze or wind that you are talking about, Master Maelstrom?
Yeah, so I was walking out in the woods with Twig a few days ago, and just to try to get to know him better, and I was sitting there and just kind of concentrating on different things, and I felt this weird breeze come from the south, in the direction of the Troll Mountains, and nobody else seemed to notice it, and there wasn't any actual wind. And I was actually contemplating this King Who Never Sleeps when it happened. So I thought that was a bit odd or coincidental, or maybe worth checking out. What do you guys think?
Maybe if you have time, you can contemplate on it some more and see if it happens again.
Maybe we can
Like a
contemplate
dive.
on this over a pint of ale.
I
I'd like to contemplate it over some more of Twig's berries too, if I'm able to. Can you overindulge on berries to get full health?
You're too healthy.
Well, the quantity of berries for this day is completely spent due to the herbalistic and alchemical experimentations of Estroff.
And we'll probably rest before we go.
Yeah.
Twig's berries alone.
Yeah.
Not
So
worried about that.
so in summary, here's what I'll say. You guys, after spending kind of the evening, having dinner, Riff, you attune to the necklace. You guys kind of talk about what you know and what you've heard from local townsfolk. And you even like kind of hit up some of the people in the inn about what they've heard. You kind of get a little bit of background info that might give you some guidance. There's in the Troll Mountains to the south of Tavalar, there are in that range, there's one specific mountain that goes up a lot higher than the rest of the range. And typically the peak of that mountain is covered in cloud cover or fog at most times. It is dangerous because of the trolls, and that's where the locals gave it that moniker, because of the fact that it was like infested with trolls. But you were told that there are other things that are dangerous in those mountains as well. Typically what lives in the mountains kind of stays in the mountains and doesn't seem to attack Tavalar. Like, oddly enough, they haven't really had any major incursions, even though the mountains are like within sight, like they're like 5 miles away, and they've never been attacked.
Are the mountains passable, or we need special climbing gear and stuff?
Well, for where you're going, you would absolutely be doing some climbing. You would need climbing gear.
We're flying.
Stop giving him
But
ideas.
yeah, but if you're flying, knowing what you know after Humphrey did identify on the necklace, and after Riff is attuned to it, the charges for flying as a spell last for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes mechanically, each minute is 10 rounds. So that's 100 rounds. So
It's 60 feet at flying speed.
Yeah. So you could fly 6,000 feet up. I mean, if you were on your game,
your ears would
almost
pop,
a mile,
but yes.
but yeah.
Yeah. So but the reality is that you'd need more than that, because the highest peak is at about 9,000 feet.
Dang.
But how many charges per day was it?
1d4.
So if we happen
So
to
each
high roll
charge-
4,
But each charge can affect 3 people.
And we need 4 people. Right? 'Cause
I mean, I
If
can
we
cast
get 4
fly on
charges,
other
that's
people.
twice though.
So
By the way, Humphrey, it's beautiful. Thank you. I didn't really thank you for this.
it is. It looks great. I think you are the man for the job, or I should
Love it.
say, what are you, halfling for the job? Okay, cool. No, I can cast fly on other people, so I think we're set
good.
for an odd man out. So okay, I think the plan here is let's sleep this one off. We start fresh and we head to the Troll Mountains. I guess we'll have to go get some climbing gear before we go.
Durant would like to also make a history check. Surprised this hasn't come up before, but the significance in the history of the name Kavalar.
You want to endear yourself to a DM, you ask
That's
them.
an
You ask them to
18.
explain their world, and they'll just go on. Talk to me about the lore of.
Well, that's an 18. I don't know if that's good enough.
Googling history of Kavalar.
No, I'm looking at it. It's just it's very light, which is why I normally don't run things in the Forgotten Realms.
Oh,
So,
right. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that the name of this town is not really ringing a bell in terms of any significance. However, in your thinking about it, you understand that it is odd that such a small village that is sandwiched between the flooded forest and the Troll Mountains. It's odd that this village hasn't been wiped off the map. Not only is it odd that it hasn't been wiped off the map, it's odd to you that it's never even been attacked. Like, that they don't have regular raids, because you've heard of at least a half a dozen different monsters that live in the flooded forest. You've heard of a whole bunch of things that live in the Troll Mountains. And somehow this dumb little village situated between all these things has never been attacked by any of those threats.
What about
That's what you find
plague?
oddest.
Or not only plague, but sickness, and the town has been shrinking over the last recently too, right?
Yeah. Well, have you seen any sick people? Now, the rest of the group has been here for a couple of weeks, right? And Humphrey and Tuco arrived a day ago. Have you seen any sick people or diseased people?
The guards have been acting like it's
Yes,
A
the guards
common
have been
occurrence.
acting like that. Have you seen anything? Okay, that is what you guys think about as you're having your drinks and kind of having dinner and relaxing. All these things are kind of going through in the course of the night as you have conversations.
And the last thing Durant wants to do, sort of to wrap up the day, is to cast Sending.
Oh, God.
To send a message to Lord Trevor.
Okay,
Look at all my fingers to start counting words.
it's been a while since we've sent a message to Lord Trevor.
Right.
Expect a shipment from. Oh,
Seven
where
Echo?
was that place? Seven Echo. My correspondent there has completed commissioned works.
12.
Please arrange for their sale and take 5%
21.
for yourself.
23.
Love you.
Smooches.
Thank you, Durant.
25. $2.
Sounds good. Cool. Thanks. Bye. No, he sent an eloquent 25
JK,
word
LOL.
reply. Durant, it is
He just replies with
a
K.
true pleasure to communicate with you through your omniscient God, Denier. Thank you for your generosity and stay well, friend.
Nice.
Mike,
Lord Trevor, out.
Lord Trevor.
Good.
Hey guys, what are we gonna say to Shem about just heading up to the mountains? We're gonna let him know.
Yeah,
No.
I think we. Oh yeah, I guess this is for you guys internally to discuss. We're not part of this.
Well, you guys need to know. Have you guys met Shem yet?
I don't think so.
He has kind of.
He's not one to really worry about us. We're either here or we're not. I don't think it's a problem.
If I'm gonna meta this, I mean, like it falls perfectly well in line with like, oh hey, we're trying to investigate more about the mage tower. We have a lead we're trying to track down.
Didn't I see you guys talking with a bunch of soldiers when we first came in? How acquainted are you with them? And would they be willing to help us with our quest to the mountains?
The less they know, the better.
So you leave them behind, even though they could be guarding us from unknown dangers?
Yes, but if we have to climb, if we have to fly, it would be much easier with fewer.
With the mention of this, Rift starts going around and trying to locate Marissa, and just to talk it over with her and see.
Yeah,
if any of
I'll
them
say while you guys are in the common room having dinner and drinks, the red shirts basically trade shifts and stuff. So she stops down by you guys for a little while. I mean, in essence, she's fine staying behind because as long as Shem is paying for her and the other soldiers, she's content to be there. But
see if she will watch the plant and child.
Would the child be useful to us in
Maybe the
mountains?
plant will be useful to us.
One day the goblin will be clutch, but I don't think that day is today.
She is willing to, yeah. I mean, it's not a problem. She'll water the plant and bring food and stuff up to Blingo and keep an eye on him.
And make sure you feed the plant meat. It eats meat.
And train the child in
She's a little bit confused by that, but she's like, oh, okay.
Do not feed the plant to the child or the child to the plant.
Okay.
But train the child in swordcraft. He needs a good, proper education, and you seem competent.
She's like, you seem like a nice man. So I'll just say there's no way in hell that I'm teaching a goblin how to use a sword.
It's not a goblin, it's a kid.
But I'll take care of him if that's what you guys need me to do.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's go.
All right.
I got ants in my pants.
You guys crash the next morning. You get up bright and early. Everybody gets their stuff. Are you bringing Blingo, or is he staying behind?
Behind.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're not getting climbing gear, right? Do we need any supplies before we go?
We could use some more rope.
I mean, maybe a tent or something might be useful.
Oh, don't we have somebody's tiny little hut?
Lehman's tiny hut. That's a useful spell if you have it.
Rope trick or something?
I do have that.
I've got rope trick.
Rope
do not
trick
have
doesn't
hut,
last
but-
for 8 hours, though, does it?
I mean, brave enough.
Don't forget, we can fly each day. I don't know how many days it's going to take us to get there.
Oh, good. Here comes an interdimensional.
Okay,
Side
so
quest.
let's go. Okay, so let's go get some more rope. Let's just get
so,
tents just in case.
So you guys drop. I'm just gonna say 20 gold gets you climbing kits for everyone, and bedrolls and blankets for everyone, and 200, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 300 feet of rope, just ridiculous amounts of rope.
Nice.
So you've got all sorts of gear. And the general store is like, they're like, thank you. And they're just happy. It's like the most business they've done in a month.
I don't know, maybe we could use a lantern.
By the way, the general store guys seem to have all of the equipment. Like as if hiking is a thing that people do around here.
Excuse me.
That's so weird.
Hey,
Do a lot of people hike here?
Yeah, fair amount, not in wintertime, mind you. But
Where's the best place for hiking?
well, if you're going during the day, you can go to the lower hills.
What
You
if
won't
we
have
were a
any
little
problem.
more adventurous and wanted to go overnight?
Well, why would you do that? There's trolls. It's dangerous. And not to mention other things.
I think we can handle some trolls, but where
Well-
would we go if we were to take a trip like that?
You keep climbing up the mountains and you're there at nighttime, you won't have to look. They'll find you. I would avoid those caves, though.
Caves.
have there ever been any hikers leaving here that said they would come back who didn't come back?
Well, no. Usually people are smart and they listen to our advice. And they make sure to make it just a day trip. And nobody ever goes in winter. Now, if you were looking for trouble, and you climb up high enough, you pass about 2,500 feet, you're going to find yourself some trouble and caves.
Can you be more specific on trouble? Are we talking specific kinds of creatures that you know about?
Trolls, ogres,
Dragons?
some dragons. No one's seen a dragon in these parts in centuries. Come on.
Yeah. What was I thinking?
Dragons. Hill giants. Gotta be careful of those. They'll eat anything. Now,
I would like to insight check this guy to see if there's anything he's withholding.
okay.
Yeah, it's not going to do it. That's a 10.
What's the name of that?
He seems to be honest.
What was the name of that adventure group again? The something
The
key?
Yeah.
Turnkey.
Can we ask him if they know anything about it?
Go ahead.
Do you know anything about an adventuring group known as the Turning Key? We heard.
Oh yeah,
Heard
those guys were
rumors.
great. Oh, I was a kid. I was just a kid, but my grandfather owned the store. I remember them coming in here and outfitting themselves. They would go on these campaigns. They would clear out things from the flooded forest. They would come back. They'd go south to the troll hills and they'd wipe out they'd clear out like a whole range, come back with troll heads and sell them as trophies. They were awesome, man. People would come from miles around to come and visit those guys. The village was just hopping back then.
So
We'll
what
push a
happened to
lantern
them?
over.
We've got a bar to sing the tales, and we've got
Well, no one really knows.
someone to write books.
Some people say that they tried to go too far into the flooded forest and got some kind of spell magic trap thing that happened to them because of a hag. Other people say that they got into the mage's tower but they couldn't get out. Some people say that they went up into the mountains, too high up in the mountains, and they became the prisoners of some giants that live up in the upper peaks. But no one really knows for sure.
You know any information about if there even are?
Well, I mean, guys, everybody knows about the hill giants, right?
No, I think it's all an act.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he goes. He's back.
Anybody make an insight check? Go ahead.
doke.
8.
21.
23.
This guy is absolutely, completely 100% true with you. Like, all of you guys feel like he's
No, hey, Bill, I think you cut out. Like, so you froze for us. So I asked you the question of and you know anything about if there even are giants up there, and we never got a response.
okay. So he's like, well, yeah, of course there are hill giants, and sometimes people say in wintertime that they've caught the trail of frost giants. But the frost giants don't seem to live there. They just seem to be kind of moving from this area to the east to the larger mountain range of the Earth Fast Mountains. But, I mean, other than hill giants, I don't know, but mostly just, watch out if you're going to be up there at nighttime, like I said, hill giants, ogres, trolls, some people have said they've seen those two-headed giants. I forgot what they're called.
What's the best way do you know any ways to avoid giants? What do we do? What's the best way to stay safe up there other than not be there?
Well, again, just saying, we have never had any problem with people who, are going for a nice hike, climbing the mountains, and staying below that 2,000, 2,500 foot, marker during the day, not a problem. But, when people start going up there at night, it doesn't happen too much anymore. Sometimes, we'll get these travelers who are, looking for an adventure, and they come from Ilrafon or one of the other cities, and they don't really know, kind of the local tips. They'll go up there, and people never hear from them again.
Okay.
And
thank you for your
around here
in exploring. I just want to make sure you understand this. There are caves, but some of those cave systems are very dangerous. You got to be careful. Who knows? I mean, who knows where those caves go? Some of them can go for miles. Sometimes you could be in one of those caves and it'll just drop off into a chasm that goes hundreds of feet down, and so just be careful.
Okay.
Is there anyone in the town that has gone above 2,500 feet that we would be able to hire as a guide or anything?
No.
Inside,
because everybody who has climbed those hills before, even as a guide, like every once in a while, we'll have some like fancy nobles come through, and they want to go on like a little expedition, and so they'll hire somebody local to take them up there, but nobody goes past 1,500 or 2,000 feet because they know better.
that was a 16 on
He will
inside.
become the guides then.
He is totally still being 100% honest.
Okay.
He's like, well, gentlemen, thank you for your business. It is truly a pleasure. Please, I hope to see you again. Just be careful. Those mountains are very dangerous. And remember, you really do want to be careful, especially at nighttime. It seems to be when they're more comfortable coming out of their hidey holes in the mountains.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's get going.
Okay, so you guys leave. You begin hiking out from Tavalar. You head south.
Just as a point of reference, did we contact Shem before we left?
I was not aware of that.
Okay.
We
Somewhere
talked
along
about
the
it,
way,
but-
Durant will will cast sending. It's my new favorite spell, apparently.
And what do you say to Shem with this sending?
All right, I say to Shem, Shem, we are following a lead on the Mage's Tower and possible entry. We will be journeying south. I think I have 2 words left.
You have 7.
Oh, 7. Wow. Okay. I guess I was off. We will keep you advised. Durant.
Aye.
You're
Shem
wise.
responds to you. And
Okay.
since it's a sending, you are not the recipient of his amazing voice. So he simply says, that is fine. Don't die. There are important things that we need to do. Don't die.
So sweet.
Seriously
Actually
though,
cares about
don't
our
die.
well-being, guys.
Also, just a little meta. What season is it? Is it winter now or is it not?
It is fall.
Better hurry.
You guys are you're like in your alpine gear. You got your rucksacks and your walking sticks and your spikes and your rope and chains and belts and all sorts of stuff. You get
Big
to
wool
the
cap
base
with
of
this.
Yeah, and the mountain range is a very gradual kind of ascent with a lot of trees. It's very heavily wooded, but as you guys get closer, you kind of hike 5 miles south of the village, and you see this range ahead of you. And it's still relatively early in the morning, and you see like kind of what they're talking about, like the upper level of this one kind of peak that seems to go up into the clouds. You could hike for the first 500 feet without even breaking out your climbing gear.
How much time are we going to save if we just fly up?
We
It
have
may
to
be
fly
good to go
twice.
slowly to see if we can get some more information. Are we really in that much of a hurry?
No, but hiking can take all day, and if you can fly, you can clear so much more ground.
But we want to save the flying for the more difficult locations.
I guess. I mean, Bill, do we know what that 1d4 roll is?
No, but I do.
Oh,
That is what we consider a jerk move.
So
Well,
I
you
will
know.
We may need to save our flying to escape some of these more dangerous creatures. Don't forget that.
yeah.
Well,
All right,
okay.
I have rolled. I will privately let Riff know how many charges he senses are in existence in his necklace.
Oh, it's not 4 automatically.
No.
It's 1d.
It's possible we only get one.
I know something you don't know. Ooh, interesting.
You can take that necklace right back, mister.
So what's it gonna be?
Well, then I guess in the absence of Riff, actually being a team player, I think we'll all go and we'll just keep climbing.
They did say that we only have to worry when we get to 2,500.
Right.
You guys hike up, cutting back and forth, going through the trees, going up. You make it up. You're about 500 feet up now. You got a nice view down below. Those of you with high perception checks don't even need to make a roll. But as you get kind of to this point, some of the trees start to kind of thin out a little bit, and the incline kind of levels out a little bit before continuing on. And you start to see the presence of more exposed rock as well. So there are still trees, still a lot of, moss and ground cover, bushes, but you start to see more exposed rock at this point. As you continue to climb, still just making a basic, hike up at this point, not even really needing to bust out the climbing gear. Each one of you just make an athletics check for me.
-1 in athletics.
Mine too.
Oh, this is
11?
brutal.
Yeah, an 11.
I rolled a 0, guys.
13. A 0.
Nat 20.
You go,
Instant
Nope.
death. I'm sorry, man. It
So
sucks.
21.
Durant slips and falls and slides back like 20 feet.
Right.
But
We
Riff,
were-
Riff is so competent in his climbing that he like Indiana Joneses Durant with like his rope and hooks Durant around the shoulder and just like whips around his shoulder and pulls him back up.
Oh, come on. You mean he's not dragging me up the mountain by my ankle?
I mean, there are worse things, you know, he could have lassoed you with, but he helps you back up. You guys get to this this kind of point where you figure you're maybe about 600 feet up now. And it's late morning. You know, the sun's obscured by clouds in the fall, and it's windy, but it's not like freezing or whipping wind or anything storm kind of related. But you do smell something, Durant. Your significant passive perception picks up a whiff of something quite foul. And it seems to be coming like downwind or kind of around the mountain from you guys. And you see some trees and kind of exposed rock from the mountain jutting out about 50 yards ahead.
He's Durant's gesturing to Tuco. Do you smell that?
Yes. You should be careful.
What do you think that is?
Do we see any caves or anything around here?
You do see, as Durant points it out, you see kind of an outcropping of rock and some trees about 50 yards up.
Is there a way around that?
Yes. You can not go in that direction and keep climbing. It does smell quite ripe, like a mix of just BO and fresh dung, like kind of just a woof, like the smell.
This sounds like a job.
What's the ground? Sorry.
This sounds like a job for my hawk, whose name is now Pierce.
The hawk has been named.
Pierce, why don't
Pierce
you
the
go
dark.
check that out?
Pierce like unfurls his wings and like catches some air in his wings, and then he looks at you and he jumps up and starts flying that way, and he flies into the cave, and then he flies out of the cave, and he comes back around and he's hauling towards you. And then he flies past you and he keeps going. Everybody make a perception check.
Oh no.
Boy.
Immediately regret this decision.
I'm going to switch to digital dice.
16.
15.
25.
Well-
You hear a rumbling from around that area where Pierce the Hawk went in.
I miss not having passed without trace anymore.
Like a boom, 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 boom.
I think we should take cover, guys.
Why don't we just fly?
That's
Cover.
true.
Is there anything to take cover? Something big?
Oh yeah, there's trees. There's all sorts of places to take cover.
I
Cozies
cast
up to a tree.
invisibility.
You are invisible. Anyone else who wants to take cover and hide, make a stealth check.
I'm gonna hide.
It's 17. I'm running up a tree.
22.
Yeah,
20.
yeah.
Oh god.
I'm hiding towards the corner.
God, this is
They
bad.
come up
guys. This
behind
is
them.
bad. So
What was your bird that got it out here?
What were we rolling again?
Stealth.
He put his nose in a book.
Oh my
Uh,
What was you
god.
trying to hide?
That's another nat 1 for 3.
Durant farts.
You run at it. You hide behind the creature.
Grant runs screaming, Spears, come back, wait for me.
Okay. Out from the cave, you see a big head, and then an enormous bulbous body. And it is most definitely, as you see this lumbering mass come out from the cave, it looks angry and hungry. And now you see that proportionately the head is smaller than it should be for a body of this size. But it is still much bigger than any of you. And Esroff, as you were in your tree, looking down at this giant emerging from this cave, it occurs to you that you would probably fit directly into his mouth.
Probably not a good plan, though.
Directly. So
You could do it like a nose or something.
the giant comes out and
Is Durant like in sight, like plain view, basically?
so this is what
Do I-
happened. The
do I have
giant
the ability
lumbers
to?
out
Hold on,
and
can I
he looks the
invisibility
wrong.
him?
You're invisible.
No, I want to do that to Durant. I'm wondering, do I see Durant basically trip over himself, and do I have the chance to make him invisible before all this happens with the giant?
Oh, well, let's have a initiative roll. Go ahead.
Sorry to. Okay. Bollocks.
Just him or each of us?
I think what counts most, perhaps in this instance, is
No.
just him.
Uh,
But we might be
9.
rolling initiative for everyone.
Yeah.
9.
9. Okay,
Yeah.
you beat the hill giant because
Oh,
I rolled a 3 for him.
Okay.
So here's what happened. In slow motion, the giant runs out and he looks the wrong way first. He looks like away from you guys. And in that moment, you're like, and you see Durant, all your other friends have just scattered. You see Durant like, and like, you invisibility him.
That's my invisibility noise. It's
And literally, like, as you do that, the hill giant turns back around. And now he's looking in the direction of you guys. And he's like, ugh.
What's the terrain? Is it snow? Like, is it just rock and gravel?
Just brown and green and gray. So there's jutting out rock, there's dirt, there's some grass and shrubs and weeds.
Can they
and
see
trees.
like footprints?
This hill giant doesn't leave the front of the cave. So
How close are we to the cave?
you guys are, like I said, about 50 yards away because you didn't move any closer. He's not moving towards you. He just looks in both directions for a good minute.
Do we know if hill giants are solitary or go in clans?
You're not really giant savvy, are you? So
I speak giant.
Oh, you do?
Go ask him.
Yeah, he was raised by giants.
Well, in that case, you know that hill giants sometimes are solitary, but usually they're not.
Do you really speak giant? That's bonkers. How insanely useful is that? Okay.
He looks back and forth. This goes on for like a minute. Now, does anyone do anything or try to move anywhere? I need to know.
I'm trying that too.
Oh, tries not to.
Durant keeps trying to sneak.
Basically crapped his pants when he saw a giant coming, so he's frozen at this moment. He's not
Yeah,
even
I'm not moving.
Does he even know he's invisible?
You become aware of this as you're like not moving. You're like, oh, if no one moves or does anything or attacks, the hill giant goes back into the cave after about a minute. He goes back into the cave.
Okay.
Let's keep going. There'll be other fights we can't avoid. This one we can.
Agreed.
Once we start moving again, I'm going to bring Pierce back to my shoulder.
Okay. All right. The next 100 feet are a little more challenging. I'll give you a choice. You could try to just free climb and make an athletics check, or you can get out your climbing kits and using your climbing kits, not have to make any rolls and just succeed.
Or I can spider climb and drag the rope up and everyone can use it.
If there's a way that we could make this glamorous climbing, that would be awesome. I'm in favor of Estroff and his endeavors.
I mean, we could, if some of those people with us could do things maybe to like make sparkle and shimmer and stuff.
Prestidigitate. Oh, I just sparkle hands the entire way up.
Okay.
That'd be great.
All right. You get up to the 600-foot mark, and you need to make a perception check.
That's a 14.
8.
You see the mouth of a cave about 30 feet away. This cave seems smaller.
There's a lot of caves.
Was Durant there to make the perception check?
So I'm invisible still, right? How long am I invisible good for?
An hour.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm pretty stealthy when I'm invisible, right? Like, what the hell's the
You
invisible
can still
modifier?
make noise.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to see if like I could just sort of sneak into the cave to look what's going on.
Sure you can.
I mean, it's sort of what I do.
Okay.
So let's
Make a
do
stealth roll.
that. Okay.
2 goes
A
hiding
21.
out outside the mouth of the cave.
Enhance ability on Humphrey to give advantage on stealth rolls.
Okay. So you stealth into the cave. Do you have dark vision?
I do have dark. I can cast dark vision, so I would do so. I will do so. Man, wizards get a lot of spells.
You see that this cave extends inward for about 60 feet as almost kind of like an arched tunnel naturally formed. You see like kind of the rock intersecting. And the smell is very pungent and strong. And then it seems to open up after that stretch of cave-like tunnel into a larger area. As you stealth to the end of this kind of cave-like tunnel, and you look into this larger cavernous space, the range of your dark vision extends to 60 feet. For as far around as you could see, you see a very huge cavern. And in that very huge cavern, you see a little bit of a flickering firelight as if someone has like some kind of campfire going. And you see a group of 4 large creatures kind of seated around this campfire. And you can hear them muttering. What languages do you speak?
Elvish, human, or sorry, Elvish and common. That's it. I wish I had riffs many years. I'm trying to see if I have no, I don't have a spell that does that. Well, I guess I'll see if I can get a little closer. I find it. I was reading the invisibility 5e spell, and I'm surprised it doesn't list any modifier that it gives you to stealth. I don't know if it's just sort of assumed that you are super stealthy at that
Can't
point.
be seen at all, right?
Yeah, it can't be seen. I guess I can be heard, obviously.
Right. So you can stealth up closer if you wanted to see what or who things are.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to get an idea of just what the heck is going on. I don't need to, sit down next to him or anything, but.
So as you're going up, you definitely avoid several piles of dung.
Okay.
And you smell like rotting meat, and you could see that there are several animal carcasses, and they look like maybe mountain goats, kind of piled about 15 feet away from where these 4 creatures are seated around this big fire. And as you get close enough now to see these creatures, you see that they look like maybe ogres, and they are roasting these goats over a campfire.
Do I notice anything else around that might be of any interest?
You don't, not around them, but you do see that there's more of this cavern that you haven't explored.
Okay.
Like they're
Well,
kind of in the center of this.
Okay. I'm gonna get back and tell the team what I see.
Okay.
So I'm walking back. Yeah, hey guys, there's 4. I guess I would know they're ogres at this point. There are 4 ogres in there. You know, there's piles of shit everywhere and dead animals and everything. It smells to the high heavens out there. But the cavern seems to keep going. I don't know where it goes, but you know, it just seems to keep going. I don't know if you have any thoughts about what we should do next.
Continue up.
I mean, our
Okay.
goal is up, isn't it? Our goal is not an inn.
Our goal is to find the sleeping giant. We have no idea what we're doing. We're hoping that we just
How do
stumble
we get
into this.
information on the giant?
If only we could find a giant that isn't a complete moron and talk to it.
I mean, it seems reasonable that we might find something like that further up. No?
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Let's keep
Everybody
going.
agree?
If we find a little smarter giant, I can try talking to them.
What's the worst that could happen?
Okay.
We have to fight a clan of giants.
Be eaten?
That's right. Let's go.
I mean, hopefully we're dead before we get eaten.
I mean,
For what it's worth, Riff concentrates on sort of the giant king again while sort of feeling back on his strange birthmark.
Make a percentile dice roll.
Yeah, it works.
come on, Riff.
200%.
106. That's right.
79. 79.
Okay.
So I just kind of open my senses to anything that may or may not happen.
How generous the DM gods are right now.
Mice comes up and bite me on the butt or something.
You hear faintly in the wind from above. The sound of the wind almost seems to be whistling or singing in some way.
You guys hear that?
No, I don't.
Anyone with a passive perception over 15,
Not me.
Me.
you do hear it. As Riff brings this to your attention, you hear the sound of the wind almost has kind of a
Melodic.
whistling kind of song to it.
Hear that.
Translate
check
to near?
to see if I have heard any reference to this melody pattern.
Yeah, Rick wants them on checking to see if there's anything familiar.
Why doesn't Durant aid you with that instead of making the roll?
Well, I'm not even sure what kind of check that would be.
History.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would need aid. I got
Well, I
+3.
mean, I've got a +9 history, so
+9.
yeah.
Guidance.
Jeez.
Oh, that's right. Estroff doesn't have guidance.
Mm-mm.
No Acker. The only thing Acker was good for was pass without trace.
So that's a natural 18 for 27.
You wrote it.
You feel like you've heard stories before about songs in the wind. You've heard of things called air elementals. You've heard of sirens who stand across the coastal lands and sing magical songs that lure their victims to a stony, drowning doom.
Well, that'd be a bummer.
It's a good thing we're not near water.
Guess we just keep going up in a general direction.
Yep, up it is.
Yeah, while they were doing this, I was continuing up and trying to tie the next length of rope for them.
Estroff's already having a beer with a giant right now at the top.
All right. I'm gonna say that you guys make it up the next few hundred feet through careful climbing and use of your climbing kits. And it's around like 1 in the afternoon. Are you gonna stop for food, bio breaks, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we're not passing food.
Yeah, give the giants an opportunity to get us. Oh, now I wish we had the tiny hut. Oh well.
Okay. You guys break out some rations, you eat something, and you continue your climbs. Time for the rolls. Estroff, roll a d20.
Oh yes, natural 20.
All right.
Yeah.
Your the next 100 feet of the climb is uneventful. Durant, roll a d20.
All right, natty 1, come on.
Oh, yeah, it's not high or low. It's just how close it is to the number I roll. So that way, everything.
Gotcha. Well, that was actually a 9.
Okay, uneventful. Humphrey, roll a d20.
D20 time. 4.
Uneventful. You guys are at about 1,300 feet at this point. Late afternoon. Tuco, roll a d20.
Doesn't matter. I'll roll this physical dice one more time. 19.
Okay, uneventful. And Riff, roll a d20.
Oh Jesus!
Come on, 12. Nope, 16.
You die.
What teen?
16.
16.
It's the most eventful ever.
It could not be more eventful than this.
You're at about 1,800 feet, and that sound occurs again. You hear the whistling, and it's not just the wind. You're like quite certain that this is a song.
Should we just fly there?
I need everybody to make a wisdom saving throw and tell me what your result is.
Nice. I get advantage on this, by the way. Thank God. That was
3.
much better.
5.
16.
Dice are against me today.
Oh, sorry.
12.
No, 19.
That was a 14 for me.
I don't like the smirk on Bill's face right now. He's like, y'all fucked.
You will all
right.
have died.
So who got less than a 15? Oh, wow.
What were you saying?
Estroff, you look at your friends and all of them start scrambling up a hill with very little regard for safety or stealth.
How fast?
And they're like lost in their own world and they're scrambling up the hill at full speed that they can for climbing.
Are they near each other?
Sure.
Why not?
I cast
We're all
Entangle.
gonna die.
Yes. That's what I was hoping to do.
It's a smart move.
Accidentally.
All right.
Thorns.
So now we have to roll saving throws against his entangle.
Yes,
Sure.
technically you do.
It's strength saving throw.
Oh,
Shit.
good. -1. I'll do so well.
Oh, I got a -1 as well. Okay, hold
It's
on.
the 14.
Oh, this is fun. Check
Now I
this
rolled
out, guys.
19.
Oh my god, 14.
And I get a 23.
19.
Oh my god.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
so it's
Oh,
14
another one.
spell save.
Did
I rolled a
everyone?
1 and I have a -1, so that's a 0.
I'm a 14.
So 14 and a 1 -1. That's a fit. So you guys are held in place
I'm
by
entangled.
roots that come out of the ground and hold you. Riff and Tuco, what did you guys have?
19.
23.
So you're both hauling ass up the hills, up the mountain. Like you're like leapfrogging over each other to try to get towards that enchanting sound. That song
Riff
is
just
just
used the necklace.
pulling you in.
Is my will my own? Can I use things I have?
It will be in a moment.
Okay.
All right. Am I close enough to put anything in anybody's ears?
Oh God. Estroff
you
wet
can
willies
move up.
everybody.
You can move up to Humphrey and Durant if you wanted to.
All right. Putting chalk in their ears, would that be an action or a bonus action?
It would be an action, but first I need you to make another wisdom saving throw.
Oh no.
One
Nat
of
20.
us. One of
Dude,
us.
this is your day, man. Estroff's tearing it up.
All right, so then I'll put chalk in their ears and let's see. Dispel magic is another action, so I'll have to wait till they get a little further away.
Okay.
Chalk in their ears.
Tuco and
Their
Riff,
wallet.
both of you make a renewed wisdom saving throw.
Nine.
17.
Okay,
Okay.
Riff, you stop yourself and you see Tuco carry on, climbing up full speed up the hill. But you are like, wait, why was I going towards that song? What is going? Like you're aware that you are under some kind of mesmerizing lure.
I look back down at the guys.
The source of the song.
So
You're
50 feet below you, you see Estroff madly trying to like cover the ears of Durant, and you see him like putting something in their ears. Durant and Humphrey seems to be trying to minister to them, but you see Tuco going full speed as fast as he can up the hill.
Can I try to tackle him? Grab his
Yes,
leg.
make an athletics check.
Two.
All right, he's too fast, which is actually accurate because he has stupid high acrobatics and dexterity. So
I yell, Tuco, stop! And I cover my ears just in case that breaks him out of spell. I know it won't.
okay, Estroff, you can dispel the magic.
And I can reach him from here with Dispel Magic. So that's what I'm going to cast. 'Cause
Okay.
It's 120.
Okay. You see Tuco tearing up and you reach forth and you can tell that he is under some kind of an effective charm. And you call down and it's like suddenly you see the trees above him kind of whip back and forth. And there's this like little gust of wind. And Tuco, you feel like just like a little puff of wind in your face. And you hear the voice of Estroff from below, but somehow it's like more powerful and amplified. Like just telling you like, stop moving. And you like stop and you snap out of it.
I'm like, wait.
You look below you, you see Riff about 30 feet down from you, and you see Estroff and Durant and Humphrey like another 90 feet past that.
Is there any cover around here?
There are trees, yes. The density of the trees has thinned as you've gone further up.
I'm going to try and take cover first.
Okay.
Seeing if I've gone somewhere I wasn't intending to go.
You see there's a few trees kind of down a little bit more closer to Estroff.
Yep, whatever is closest, I'm going to.
Okay, Riff, what are you doing, Riff?
First of all, a question. If you've made a saving throw are you like clear, or do you have to?
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, you
Yeah, I
still
guess
hear the song, but you don't feel compelled to go to it.
Okay. So I'm just going to rejoin the guys below. And,
Okay. Humphrey, Durant, and Estroff. You guys see Riff and Tuco kind of descending towards you guys.
Oh, thank the gods.
Can I look around? See if there's anything around?
Make a perception check.
Probably won't matter. Hey, 21.
You see nothing.
You do see kind of east around the mountain, maybe about 100 feet away. You see another kind of, not even a grove, but let's just say like a cluster of about 5 or 6 trees with a rocky outcropping.
Okay, when I get back down to the rest of the guys, I tell them what I saw while I was scouting.
Yeah, you're fooling no one.
Okay.
Everybody looks at you except for Durant, who seems to. Durant, there's something about that song that you heard that was just, you just felt like if you could just find the source of that song, you would understand everything that Denier had intended for you to understand.
Yeah. With that in mind, am I still entangled?
I don't know, Astroff, is he still entangled?
No, I think it would have let up whenever I cast Dispel Magic. I had to immediately concentrate
All right.
elsewhere.
I'm taking the chalk out of my ears because I have to hear this song.
Okay.
I
Oh wait,
absolutely
you haven't
have to hear it.
you haven't won your saving throw yet.
No.
Make a roll.
Crap.
That's a 21.
Okay. You hear it. It still sounds pretty amazing.
Hey guys, I'm starting to wonder about
Who amongst you speaks Elvish?
I do.
I do.
Oh. So everybody who speaks Elvish, as you kind of now like as the magical lure of this song has kind of faded, but you can still hear it, you feel like you're making out a few words in Elvish.
And those words are.
Well, you're several hundred feet away. So it's kind of hard to hear the exact context of it. But like you hear the occasional word of like love, the moon.
Maybe it's time for us to fight fire with fire.
You sing your own
Maelstrom,
song?
can you give us a better performance than them?
Well, I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this whole following the following my intuition and listening to the wind kind of thing. Maybe it's a bad idea, or maybe somebody who was trying to charm us and get us there, but maybe they didn't mean harm. Do you think there's any does that carry any weight in terms of
I mean,
possibility?
Given
we've
the
gotten over
power-
it now, why don't we just keep going up?
Given
Figure
the
out what was.
power of the song, I think it bears investigation.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
so if we have
keep going.
a really good song, maybe they will come to investigate us.
I also have kind of an idea. What if if we can get up there and still somehow appear to be under the spell and have some deception on our side in case there's
That's
danger.
clever. I mean, I do like the battle of the bands concept, but I think I like this. Let's go and pretend to be. Let's do the deception.
It's
No,
now the
keep that
time
in
to fly.
Fly, you fools.
The flying band.
Well, you guys are at, what did I say, 1,600 feet? Or 1,800 feet? You're at 1,800 feet. So,
Yeah.
If we
So,
fly,
we
we
get
can still
to
investigate
just
it.
shout
why don't I do
recon.
this? Why don't I do this? I say, I turn to Riff because I identify this object. I know that it has a certain number of spells. I'll ask Riff outright. You think, hey, Riff, you think this is a good time to, to have the group fly there?
Pierce, locate the sound, the source of that sound. And I'll
So-
see through Pierce's eyes while he goes.
And so Riff, what do you think?
Yeah.
Pierce starts flying up.
We've got Pierce. That's what
No?
we need. Oh,
Okay.
we need to get away, then we can fly.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of getting that bird's eye view with Pierce.
Let's do it.
Out up in there.
Well, I'm seeing through his eyes already, so sort of while you guys have been talking, my stare has gone blank.
We draw
And
on
my
your
eyes have
face.
sort of rolled up into my head, and I'm probably
Anything you
about to
guys
fall.
wanted me to do to Durant, now would be the time to do it.
I put
Right,
the chalk back in his ears.
right. I take a chocolate in his nose, maybe.
No, we might need to
One
hear
nostril.
do his bird. So let's not do that. Let me just like take some of his books and rip out some of the pages, that kind of thing.
Oh God, he'd murder us.
As you are looking through Pierce's eyes, Pierce is kind of soaring a little bit, making kind of his way up in a spiraling ascent, kind of keeping an eye. You get up, he gets about 250 feet above where you guys are. And then he does you see that he spots, as you're looking through his eyes, you see that he spots this rocky outcropping with like a crown of trees around it. And in each one of the trees, you see these female elves who are kind of like nude, but they also have wings, like feathered wings. And they're crouched like in the branches, almost kind of concealed in the branches of these trees. And they're all singing. And there's about 6 of them. And you see that he sees this. And then he's kind of like flying around and looking at them. And then you notice that one of the female elves pulls out a bow and goes to fire it at Pierce. The arrow flies past Pierce and he dives. He tucks his wings and just does a straight out dive towards you guys and to get away.
Okay, so I relayed to the group what I've seen.
Pierce pulls out of the dive. Pierce pulls out of the dive and he circles around and then he lands back on your shoulder.
Could you describe those creatures again?
As you saw them, they appeared to be female elves, nude, with large feathered wings coming out of their backs. Not like scaly wings, not bat wings, but like feathered wings, like birds.
I think I've heard of these things.
Whether they're trying to help us or not. The
I think
question
they'd make
is,
a meal
does
out of
this
us if they could.
require a response or not? They tried to attack one of our own.
Riff.
I think I've read about something like this called harpies. I don't know if that's what these are, but I do not think they would be someone to help us if that's who this is.
Harpies were like ugly grayish creatures.
Durant's going to make a history check to see if he's heard of anything like this.
Elvish harpies? They could be hot.
I'll try anything once.
24.
Their songs could be making them beer goggle too.
So you've heard of harpies. You've heard of harpies in the same sense that you've heard of sirens and air elementals. You've never encountered them before. You have heard of, their abilities to charm their victims, but you don't know what other kinds of magic they possess. Their origins I guess with a massive history roll like that, you might know a bit about their origins. You have some recollection that harpies were somehow like going back into like elvish mythology, that they were spawned from elves who were cursed, basically.
We have been looking for knowledge. The giants and the ogres that we found would not be able to communicate much to us, even if we talk to them. But these elves may be able to, if we can keep at least one of them alive.
You think they speak Elvish still?
Well, I mean, they sang it, so
True.
chances are
True,
they
they
speak
sang
it.
in Elvish.
The question is, do we want to hear their voices?
Mm.
Yeah,
Maybe
if they
we bring
start singing a
gifts.
different song, we might not be immune to their charms. The next song.
Any spells that could prevent us from being susceptible to those and let us get the drop on them?
I mean, I have a spell that can make them silent
I can put them to sleep.
for a
Perfect.
limited range.
I give chumps that
Like
can
you
make the
said.
world silent.
And then, like you said, Tuco, maybe we can silence them and make them hear us, and I can do some jamming, and you can join me. That might be worth it. Get some information from them. Sounds like we're formulating a pretty good idea here.
Yep. Let's do it.
Or suicide, one or the other.
What's the worst? I think we've already gone through that
We'll
already.
make for ourselves one way or the other in the town.
Now, I just to be clear, are you guys climbing up there, or are you gonna use the power of the necklace and fly up there? What's your plan?
So what's the range
What time? What's the time of the day? What time of day is it?
It's late afternoon, so you still have sunlight.
Let's just go
This
fly.
might be a good time to fly. It might intimidate them, and maybe
Yeah.
Well, also, if they fly to meet us, we can control the battlefield to some degree. Being that I can cast silence as a sphere, we might be able to position that in a way that helps us.
Yes.
Speed is good. Walking is not going to be very fast.
I endorse this idea, and I'm willing to use up 2 charges on the necklace to make sure we can all fly. One charge does 3 people. Right?
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. Riff, you concentrate on the power of the necklace, and the necklace whispers to you its secrets, and you are able to choose yourself and 2 other people upon whom you can imbue the power of flight. You do this for 2 charges to cover everyone, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And you guys all of a sudden, within 12 seconds of Riff concentrating, all of you possess this strange new understanding of flight. And all you need to do is concentrate on flying, and you are able to fly.
Okay. Up and away.
So does that mean that Durant has to concentrate on flying,
No,
thus preventing other spells?
the spell is working for you on your behalf, granting you a flying speed of 60 feet.
Riff
So,
tries it out, hovers a bit, and starts flying in circles around the guys and sings, "Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing in the air. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me."
Make a performance check.
Did you just come up with that yourself?
Yes.
those are amazing words, Riff.
I know, right?
You're truly the voice of our generation.
23.
Everybody gets 1
Slow claps.
inspiration point.
What?
All of you you were all inspired
That is
for the
amazing.
creation of this scene by
We need it. We're
Riff's
going
epic
into a
song and flying. His aerial performance was almost like a dance.
From what Durant saw before, like is the expectation or is the battlefield area like where they would possibly take to the air above where they are?
Well, bear in mind that this is a large mountain, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
say that you have to go straight up and encounter these things, because you don't.
No, we should
Right.
just we should terrain mask. We should be hovering, I don't know, 20 feet, 10, 20 feet above the ground, and let's just keep going and following the terrain as we get closer. That way we have the option of ducking down, getting out of sight, and we're not too visible. Yeah, let's just keep terrain masking.
Do we notice if they've noticed this Rift song?
Well,
As the-
again,
as they're
they're
singing?
still hundreds of feet away from you. So if you guys fly up, I guess I'm just saying, are you flying up towards them? Are you flying left of them, right of them? What's your move?
No, we'll go
So
toward them.
based on what I've seen through Pierce's eyes, if we were to sort of come around from behind them on the mountain a little above, and I were to drop a sphere of silence above them, so they have to fly up into it to engage us.
Okay, Matt. Sorry, keep going.
I mean, I think that would give us a tactical advantage.
Okay. Riff?
I was just gonna say, while we're doing this and while we're approaching and with the silence, Riff's gonna start using enthralling performance. They're gonna be, we're not gonna hear them, but they're gonna hear. So this is gonna be me.
So this is like the equivalent of like flying with a boombox above your head.
Yeah, it's basically gonna be singing, going towards them, singing like Tuco I think said, let's fight fire with fire, and with
Just
the
make sure
intention
you
of
stay out
charming up to 4. I can charm up to 4 of them with my performance if they
Okay.
don't make a wisdom save throw.
Okay.
just make sure you stay out of the area of silence.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that the bulk of the group is going to follow Durant up and around to above where they are, while Riff and someone else, or just Riff, is flying up towards them, performing and singing.
Tuco's going to be flying right below
Okay.
Grant, just in case they attack him. They'll be ready to defend.
Okay. Durant, you get to the point where you are above them. What's your range on the spell?
Let me double check. I think it's 120 feet.
If it's 120, you're set.
Give me a second. It's taking me a minute to find it.
Fireball.
Next page. Next page. Next page.
And while he's doing that, Riff, what is the DC for them to save?
It's gets myself. Okay. This is the first time I've ever had to give you that information. 15.
Okay, so that's 2 fails, and it could affect up to 4 of them.
Yeah, my charisma modifier is 4.
Okay,
Yeah, so silence is 120 feet of range, and it's a 20-foot sphere.
and you're dropping it above this crop of trees.
Correct.
So they're here. Your zone of silence is like a cloud above them, and Riff is coming up, flying up, like playing his lute and singing a song. And you see, because you're up ahead, you see like 4 of them like look down at Riff, and they just like lower their claws and their bows and arrows, and they're just like looking at him with these dreamy eyes. And by the way, these are scary looking creatures. Like, yeah, they look like female elves, but they're scary looking female elves with like weird claws and talons and like mottled hair and like
They're really mean.
blank dead eyes. And
I'm so glad they're looking at me this way then. Can I just describe what the effect says?
yes,
It says, while charmed in this way, the targets idolize me, speak glowingly of me to anyone who talks to it, and it hinders anyone who will oppose me, although it would avoid violence unless it was already inclined to fight on my behalf. The effect ends after 1 hour. If it takes any, oh wait, maybe I shouldn't be saying this because this is kind of meta. Sorry.
No.
Anyway, just the part where they're idolizing me and just like talking glowingly about my performance, kind of thing.
So
I won't say
you see the four who are clearly charmed are like just entranced with you, and they're kind of looking curiously at you and like tilting their heads, and their eyes are open. And the other two see you coming, and they shout off some commands to the other four, who don't respond to them. And then one of the other two looks up and sees the rest of the group above. And she screams off something, and she and the other one that aren't charmed jump down from the branches and fly into this cave.
Oh, she screamed?
She screamed off a command to the other one.
But not in Elvish that we would know.
In Elvish. You guys could well, actually, could you? Can you hear through the zone of silence, Erik?
The people above, yeah, you can hear through it. It's just anything in the actual sphere can't make a sound.
Okay. So they go into they scream, one of them screams off in Elvish, "Flee!" And they both fly into this cave. The other four are sitting up in the tree branches, enamored with Riff.
I'm going to yell to Riff to get at least one of them to come with us so we can go talk to her. But we only have an hour, so we have to make it count. And then get away from the other two.
There are four that are charmed.
Yeah, like I would invite all of them to come with us. But how far away do we need to go to get with the other guys? Couldn't they just come down, or?
Yeah.
Can we collect one of them to be friends with Blingo and Twig?
Not out of
I don't think they're gonna like do that.
Every encounter we need to take a trophy.
After an hour, they're gonna have a tremendous headache.
We need a zoo.
Okay, so you guys above, you see that it seems like four of these are just entranced. They are not acting aggressively towards Riff. Riff, you kind of get up to this outcropping, and you just kind of like just set down on the outcropping. You still retain the ability to fly, and you're still like singing your song and like playing, and they're just like staring at you. And they just kind of like hop down like birds from the branches, and they kind of like walk over to you in a creepy sort of way, and they kind of like collapse and like sit down in a semicircle around you, like uncomfortably close, like within 5 feet of you. And they're just kind of like grooving to your song and like whispering to each other and giggling and stuff. They're like creepy, scary groupies with claws and wings.
Riff is like,
so just groupies then.
But they're naked, just like like groupies.
ladies, hello. How are you today?
Are you saying this in Elvish?
Yes.
All right. One of them is like, "Your song is so pretty," and like most of her teeth are like either sharpened or like rotten, and her tongue is kind of like a purplish black.
So are you?
Like when she says that, the other three are like, "Yes, so pretty song. Sing more songs."
I'm so pleased you like my music. Not everybody does. You know, of course I'll keep playing. We'd like to get some information too, if you can help us out. We're kind of lost and we're looking for somebody specific. It keeps strumming. Like,
Yes.
would you be willing to share some information with us?
Anything for you.
Go, go, go.
So we're looking for the king who never sleeps. We believe he's up in these mountains.
The rest of the group, are you guys coming down now to the landing?
I am minding my own business. I don't want to mess with a good thing.
Okay. So are you all staying up above then?
Yeah, just watching this happen.
But
All right.
within one round of movement, flight
So
movement.
50 feet away. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, holding distance.
all right. So you guys see, you're watching this from like your perch above. You're not even perched, you're just floating in air because of flying. And you could see Riff like has these four kind of like around him.
Oh, hey, can I cast clairvoyance so I can hear?
You could,
I want to do that, so
and you do.
I'll burn this spell slot because we're getting late in the day. Hopefully we'll rest at some point.
Okay.
File that under spells I didn't prepare today.
You have the ability now to hear Riff, and you hear him ask Riff, re-ask your question.
Hey, ladies, we're on a journey. We're trying to find the king that never sleeps. I believe he's a giant of some sort, lives here.
That's what
in
you hear.
these
Since I speak Elvish, I'm like letting the rest of the group know what I'm hearing.
Okay. So you guys then in turn get that relayed to you by Riff, or by Humphrey of what Riff was saying. King who never sleeps? No.
No, what about a king of giants, a giant king?
Yes, giant king. And they look up, all four of them.
How do we get to him?
They flap their wings.
Is flying the only way to reach the king? Is he above the mountains or is he in the
They
mountains?
point to the cave and they say, the great stone stairs.
The cave that their sisters flew into?
All right, you fly down there to ask this question.
Were you with me, Tuco?
No,
No.
he's up there with me. We're all just watching
I'm
you do
assuming
this.
that
Don't
they're
go, man.
playing-
Well, it's a one-way. So Humphrey can hear what's being said, but he can't talk back to Riff.
Oh,
It's like I put a wiretap in the room or something.
Okay.
Okay. So
I just try to, when they're pointing a certain way, I'm just trying to follow what they're saying or where they're pointing.
So
where the stone stair would be.
they point into the cave that the other two that weren't charmed by you went into. And then they point in there and they say, the stone stairway goes up.
Okay, so the stone stair is reachable by going through your cave, where your sisters will probably try to kill us. Is that right?
Why would they kill you? You're splendid. We live to
I
hear
know,
you sing.
I know, right? But they didn't really seem to get it. You know, you all get my music, and I appreciate that. You know, Troll Mountains, love you, love this place. I'll be back again someday, next tour. But
Yes, trolls.
are you guys servants of the Giant King in some way?
No. The giant king sleeps.
That's what I hear. Well, I would like you to take me and my friends on a tour of your cave and the stone stairs so we can be on our way to see the king.
Yes. And they stand up and they're like, come. And they begin walking towards the cave.
This is clutch, man. Well done.
You guys see the four charmed harpies stand up and suddenly begin walking towards the cave entrance. And you see Riff, what do you see your friends up above?
Yeah, so I'm like waving to come, and hopefully they heard.
Riff waves you guys down.
Okay, I follow.
I'll follow.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So all of y'all get down to the landing and you see the four harpies walking towards this cave. Anyone with dark vision can see that this cave is smaller. It's only about 8 feet tall. So it's much smaller than those huge cave openings that you saw below. and it is pretty dank, but it looks like it's kind of a tunnel like cave that goes in for, you figure, maybe 100 feet before it opens up into a bigger chamber.
I'm gonna light my hooded lantern.
Okay.
They already know we're here, so might as well be able to see.
The four groupies backing you forward.
Rip just says to them, how many of you all live here? Is it just the 6 of you?
Yes, just the 6 of us. Sisters.
Very good.
Inside
By the way,
check.
if your 2 sisters come out and start complaining about my music again, do you think you could maybe stand up for me and not let them stop us from going on the stone stair if they intend to do that?
Yes.
You must tell them the importance of this music and how we need to get this to the king.
We'll tell them now. One of them runs forward, and kind of when she gets to the end of the tunnel, you see she jumps and her wings take off and she starts flying. And you hear her screeching in this like bird-like, if anyone speaks avian. No? Too bad. She speaks in this bird-like avian language. Yeah, it kind of sounds like just a mix of caws and screeches. And you hear a couple like return caws and screeches. And then you see her land. And as you guys approach the end of this hallway, she stands there and she's like, the way is clear for you. Come, we will go to the stone stairs.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And the other 3 are like, yes, come to the stone stairs. And they all start running and they fly. Do you guys all fly after them? Okay.
Yeah. So
you see pretty quickly why it's necessary to fly, because you are in a tall, domed cavern that is about 100-foot ceiling. That's just sheer rock. And they fly up to the top of this, where you see kind of like a ledge and then another tunnel. And they kind of fly around by this ledge in the tunnel, and they say the stone stairs, and they point to this ledge and the tunnel that goes up.
Are there any dangers?
Oh yes. No, wait, she doesn't respond to you.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
You say that. And she looks at you like you're a piece of rocks. And she's like,
so I shoot sort of Riff a look like, pass on my question.
What should we expect the rest of the way before we reach the king? Like, what other kind of dangers might we face? And how long should it take us to get there if we're unhindered?
The stone stairs are very long. Built by the stone giants. Expert craftsmen are they, making stone things. Build the stone stairs, they did.
I'm gonna ask Durant if he knows anything about the stone giants.
All right, I guess history on stone giants, sure. You won't believe this. This is like my 10th natural one for tonight. So
wow.
That's 10 total.
You are the winner of losing tonight. Congratulations.
Oh wait, I have inspiration. I'm gonna spend the inspiration.
Here you go.
That's much better. That's 26.
Okay. So you are familiar with stone giants. They're not high up in the ordning necessarily, but they're not slouches. They are indeed considered the best when it comes to any kind of stone crafting. Like, they are legendary in terms of their ability to build things under the earth and within mountains. Their crafting is on a scale that makes dwarves jealous. And part of that is because they're just infinitely patient and they could focus on minutia. And you've heard, like stories of like stone giants taking like a century to build like one hallway. Just one hallway. So like they're They are in the ordning like respected for their ability to craft, but they're also very isolated from the other giants, and they don't interact a lot with the surface. Like it's almost alien to them.
Sounds like they're more intelligent. They may be the place to start.
So the dum-dum harpies say, they look to you, Riff, and they're like, yes. And servants of the giants are on the stone stairway too. Things that serve the giants. If the stone stairway you don't want to go, out we can go again, and fly up you can. But then other things like griffins and hippogriffs, and even the rock.
So we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
Oh my God, I knew that was coming.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, rock
like
and
literally.
hard place. Yes.
Okay. Well, I kind of think
I'll give you my inspiration.
I think this is where we part ways, ladies, because, like I said, the tour must move on. But I do promise we will be back to play for you again someday. So I think
We would love to have you back for dinner. Yes.
Yeah, I know, right? That's kind of where I thought you were going. So Riff's like, hey guys, let's take off. And right before he leaves, he uses minor illusion over like on kind of the stone wall where on the other side, and it's one of his signature Riff Maelstrom posters, XOXO Riff signed at the bottom.
Nice.
And like hopefully they can divert their attention to that. And
I'll do I can do minor illusion, but it's enhanced minor illusion, so I'll add sound to it as well.
Okay. They kind of float, they like flutter over towards it, and they're just kind of like flapping their wings, kind of like circling around looking at it. The rest of you go up the ledge and up the tunnel. While you still have the ability to use flight, you find it easier to fly up this tunnel, even though it's relatively narrow. This does not look like it is expertly stone crafted. But when you get to the top of this pretty sharp angle, it's like a 45-degree angle tunnel, heading up further up the mountain, but also into it. When you emerge from it, you find yourself again in a flattened cavern. But this time, the middle of this cavern is enormous. So to give you some perspective, what you're coming out of is like a mouse hole at the base of the floor. And you look, and there are huge columns. The walls are no longer rocky outcroppings. This is crafted. Like these are foundation block level crafted stonework, and the seams are impeccable. All of the stones are immaculate, and you are in basically a giant room with huge columns and braziers of burning flame. It's well lit. And there is a ceiling, not a rocky, naturally formed, but like an actual stone. Everything's stone. The walls are stone, the ceiling's stone, the columns are stone. And in the center of this room, you see a stone spiral staircase. And it is large. Like each stair itself is the size of one Estroff, like the height. Like each stair is like 4 feet tall.
We'd fly.
How many Estroffs wide?
Many.
I only want things to be explained in relation to Estroffs now.
And you see that there's no like safety railing. Like this is just a stone spiral stair that goes up as tall as the ceiling and keeps going up. It's almost like an enormous column. But you also hear something. You hear the sound of like almost like the sound that you would hear when you see somebody with a whetstone sharpening a blade, but a lot bigger and a lot louder. And that is where we'll end this episode of D&D with Dads.
That's cool.
Ciao. We'll find out what happens as the party continues up the stone stairwell to see if they can find this perhaps existent sleeping king.
Well, hello, it's me, Wizzy. I'm back once again to remind you to subscribe and click on the notifications button, and also watch videos that are over there. And then don't forget to tune in to the next episode of whatever show you are just watching, and crafting videos and DM tips and pro tips for vlogging and all sorts of gaming things.